Founded along a wagon trail over 160 years ago, the small town of Susanville, California is seemingly home to countless spirits, from haunted homes and cemeteries to mysterious tunnels and an abandoned hospital. I'm Kenny, your captain, and welcome to Spooky Legends of Susanville.
Well, hello everyone, I'm Kenny, your captain, and welcome to Spooky Legends of Susanville. It is January 2024. I am in front of the old Lassen County Courthouse. I woke up this morning with a bit of a Rudolph situation going on here. Yeah. Well, for a while now, people have been asking me about some kind of ghost tour, some kind of walking tour. And so today I'm kind of playing around with that idea. What would a Spooky Legends of Susanville tour be like? What would it consist of? So I think maybe it would start here at the old courthouse and the old jail, and then go up to the old cemetery and through there, some of the more notable graves. This wasn't the original courthouse. This was the second one built. This land was donated to Lassen County by Isaac Group, the founder of Susanville. That old courthouse was in service until I think 1917, I believe. The story I've heard is that the judge was passing sentence and he slammed his gavel down and part of the ceiling fell down on his head. Years later, with the county and the population growing, another courthouse is built, again, behind this one. It's still standing. It's, I believe, mainly used for offices now. There is a new courthouse on the other side of town. Well, before the original courthouse was built, trials were held in a saloon on Main Street, if they were held at all. This was the Wild West. Cattle rustlers, they were hung. In fact, there's quite a few hangings that took place on this property. Well, this one has been under refurbishment the last so many years. You can see the front doors are boarded shut. The windows are new, all new. I came by a couple weeks ago and everything was boarded up. Let's have a look inside. Oh yeah, under construction. You can see all the workers' beverages. Off to the side here we have a little memorial plaque. This garden is dedicated to Emma Freeman, beloved 63-year employee of Lassen County. Friends are the flowers that bloom in life's garden. We're headed back behind the old courthouse. See, old jail on the verge of complete collapse. So the original courthouse is probably somewhere in this area, right behind the newer one. And so it was over here, I believe, somewhere in this area where all these containers are sitting. This is where the old jail was. It was a simple stone building. Right next to it would have been a woodshed. I mention this because in 1888, two men being held for murder, they were called Mexican Ben and Holden Dick. I know. It's true though. It's how they're recorded in history. Mexican Ben and Holden Dick. Anyways, they were being held in the jail that stood on this spot. In 1888, the people of town got together and decided to practice their own form of justice. They broke into the jail. They pulled Mexican Ben and Holden Dick from their cells. They were severely beaten and hung in the woodshed that used to stand right over there. One man, his pants were down around his ankles when they found him in the morning. The other, when they hung him, he had long hair and it got tied into the noose. So when the drop came, it was such a forceful drop, it tore his scalp free from his skull, and he was covered in blood. There is still speculation of whether or not the jail was broken into, or if the guard simply unlocked the door for the mob. Probably fearing for his own life, I'm sure he probably unlocked the door. So that jail eventually needed to be replaced, and it was replaced with this building next to it. And here we are at the front of the old jail. Eventually this place was condemned, and for a while they used it to store records, but yeah, got past that point. Now it's just sitting empty. It was a couple of years ago, I came here at night and I sat right up here and had a little ghost hunt, a little spirit box session with the EMF reader out. Yeah, I got quite a bit of activity. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting ghost hunt that night. I'll have to be sure to put a link in the description of this video for that one. But yeah, it was something else sitting right here. EMF reader just lighting up. Got some definite voices on the spirit box. I'm pretty sure I had a ghost tell me to fuck off. That was the first time, but yeah, it wasn't the last time. Have a look between the bars here. Camera up so you can see. Yeah, and the ceiling in the back has completely collapsed. All the way. Yeah. I've said before, even if I could get access to this building, I don't think I'd want to go in. Another view from the outside. And yeah, you can see that wall starting to buckle. You can see those huge cracks running down there, the wall bowing out. So yes, that's the old courthouse and jail. We've been here a few times, and now we're going to go somewhere else we've been a few times. We're going to head right up the hill behind me to the Susanville Cemetery. Well, I guess the best place to start would be here at the entrance of the cemetery. This is pretty much where the original part of the cemetery was. Of course, over the years it was expanded. But yeah, right out here in front of the gates, you got a little bit of an interesting story. In those early days of Susanville, we used to get a lot more snow, and I mean several feet. The ground would be frozen, and if people died during the winter, well, it was kind of hard to bury them. So out here, somewhere probably in this road here, a mass grave was dug. And by springtime, summer, once the ground thawed, families that could afford a second burial, they'd have their loved ones exhumed from this area and then buried in the cemetery proper. If the families didn't have the money, well, they were left here. So this road where I'm standing, there's several bodies buried beneath here. Well, it is that time of the year where the sun sits right there most of the day. And like I had mentioned, this place was founded in 1860. The first person buried here was a young boy. His name was Perry Craig. For a long time I couldn't find out how exactly he had died. Eventually I was finally able to find out that he was going duck hunting. It was just a few miles upriver from here to the west. A section of the Susan River had been dammed off into a type of pond to serve for the mill, Roop's Mill. He found a boat and took it out on the water. He found this boat on the shore and took it out onto the water. saw some ducks, took aim, and fired. Well, the recoil knocked him out of the boat. He was wearing boots, and it dragged him straight to the bottom. Some mill workers heard the shot, saw him go in the water, but yeah, he was just pulled right straight down, and they couldn't do anything to save him. So yes, Perry's buried up here somewhere. The location of his grave is lost to time. It was most likely a wooden marker back then. It was in 1918, I believe, the county deemed this cemetery closed. It was full. There are still new interments now. Families that own plots and have not passed yet. Bright light. That was really bright. Some more recent vandalism. I don't remember this one being knocked over last time I was here. It's a shame. Look at this. This is something I didn't notice either. Actual wooden grave markers. I've only found one other in this cemetery. Wow, I don't know how I missed this all this time. You can see this one here is in pretty good shape. Can't make out any kind of writing or markings. This one is split in half, as well as this one over here. And this one's just as if the base is just rotted away. Well, as far as notable graves go, I guess we'll start with the man himself. Isaac Roop. His final resting place. The founder of Susanville. He was the governor of Lassen County. Yeah, he's the one that got this place going. It was a few months back I came here at night and did a ghost hunt. Yeah, lots of activity, just like down at the old jail. A lot of the same type things happened. So I was kind of wondering, if it's the same spirit I was talking to. I asked, is this Isaac Roop? And yeah, he wasn't too happy that I was leaning on his grave. So yeah, that was the second time I got told to fuck off by a ghost. You can see in the center of your screen there, that's the old jail. It's that close. More broken tombstones. Seems like every time I come here, there's another one knocked over. More broken tombstones. They really, yeah. I don't like seeing this. It really upsets me. These are someone's loved ones, We're gonna head on down back towards the entrance of the cemetery to our next notable grave. Here we are. Here we go. And someone's even put out some new flowers for her. Mother Susan E. Roop Arnold, born November 13th, 1841, died July 22nd, 1921. She is the daughter of Isaac Roop, and who the town was named for. Susan came to town to find her dad, who'd taken off and gone off exploring the Wild West. She was the only one of Roop's children that would see him, as an adult. I think the one brother moved out to Texas. Another one served in the Civil War, was severely injured, could never quite fully recover from his injuries, and died a couple of years later. But Susan was the one that really got the town organized and tried to make it less lawless. She insisted on starting, church. She wanted to have school for the kids, things like that. Here we go. We got a little bit of subsidence going on with this grave. Edith M. Wilbur, July 11th, 1872, October 5th, 1919. Yep. Yeah, that's a heavy piece of rock right there. There was another wooden grave marker somewhere over here, but I can't find it now. I knew it was somewhere on this hillside over here. I'm really hoping no one took it. It's not okay at all. You should never take anything from a cemetery. Yeah, I could have sworn somewhere around in this area. I'll have to go back through my my footage and see if I'm just in the wrong spot. I hope I'm in the wrong spot. I hope nobody did anything with that tomb, or not that tombstone, that grave marker. Our next notable interment here in the Susanville Cemetery is here at the veterans' graves. We have here Thomas Tucker, Colonel Lieutenant, 363 Infantry, 91st Division. Died in France September 28th, 1918. He was fighting in World War I. And he was half native, half white. And yeah, he was killed over there in battle. Originally buried in a World War I cemetery over there in France. But yeah, he was exhumed and brought home and laid to rest here. And there's a cave out towards the other side of Honey Lake, out by the ghost town of Amity. It has Native American petroglyphs, and the cave was named the Tommy Tucker Cave in his honor. We're back in the middle of the older section of the cemetery. And this part, you find a lot more of these stones. They're kind of definitely rough cut. I see parts have been chipped off. You can't even see whose name that is anymore. We just know that they were born June 7th, 1833, and they died January 1st, 1865. Anyways, these rougher stones from around this date, they were quarried from a quarry, not far away, just off in that direction. It's now called Quarry Street, but yeah, that's how it got its name. But yeah, a lot of these older tombstones, they came from just up the street here. Well, here is the grave of a Mary E. Williams, born in 1869 and died in 1908. Well, Miss Williams was traveling to Westwood with her young son and a few other people on a stagecoach. When they reached Devil's Corral, the canyon, something happened. I'm not sure if the horses were spooked, but the driver lost control, and the wagon went over the cliff edge. Everyone jumped out. Miss Williams' son, he suffered a broken arm. Sadly, she struck her head on a rock and died there at Devil's Corral. And she was brought back home to Susanville and laid to rest up here in the back corner of the cemetery. Here's somebody's garbage. That's nice. I'll be taking that with me. I don't need to be here. In 1866, just south of Eagle Lake, a group of natives were camping, and a group of white men from Susanville went out there and slaughtered everybody. They killed the men, the women, the children. This became known as the Papoose Meadows Massacre. There was one lone survivor. He was known as Old Man Joaquin. I was fortunate enough the other day to meet his descendants, and yeah, it was awesome. I did a video on the Papoose Meadows Massacre. They saw it. They gave me great praise. Wow, talk about an honor. Anyways, one of these men from Susanville that committed this atrocity, this massacre, There's about 4 or 5 of them, I forget exactly. Anyways, one of them is buried right here. You got the Spencer family lot. There's this one, right at the top. Ephraim Van Bern Spencer. 1836 to 1904. Beautifully carved marker. You can tell they're one of the Masons. Look at that. Beautiful work. So Frank Johnston, born August 23rd, 1861. Died January 20th, 1909. And looks like an Emma F. Johnston. She was born February 13th, 1866. She lived a little bit longer than he did. And she died February 7th, 1941. And then right here, this is one for a baby. Joyce Lavone Harris, June 29th, July 5th, 1948. Baby. You can see this up here. This is probably a lamb, I'm guessing. And it's just been worn down being out here in the weather all these years. Quite a few of these graves in this cemetery belong to children. And here, this is an entire generation right here. At the turn of the century, there was a huge pandemic, a huge outbreak. And we had typhoid, we had the Spanish flu, and back then there really wasn't much, for medicine or medical help. And unfortunately, the ones that suffered the most were the children. They were the weakest, and yeah, they were the ones that died. That's where this place gets one of its nicknames, the Children's Cemetery. Oh no! A little decorative piece is broken off. Stuff like this, I really hope this is from weathering, not vandalism. Whenever I do one of these videos or come to one of these cemeteries, I ask you, my viewers, the ones watching this, if you choose to come here, please be respectful. This is hallowed ground. This is where people come to mourn their loved ones and to remember, to pay their respects. This is where they come to feel, some kind of connection to people that are gone. So there's absolutely no reason to destroy anything. I've been here many times, taken many walks to this cemetery, making these videos. And every time I discover something new. There's just so many graves here. Well, right on. Well, I think that's pretty well gonna do it for this video. Thanks for coming with me on this little walking tour. I know a lot of this stuff I've covered in my old videos, but never all together in one. Yeah, again, thanks for watching. Be sure to give us a like, share, subscribe. All that good stuff people want you to do on social media. Anyways, we're gonna put up some names right here. Thank you guys for all your comments, all your support, all your well wishes. It really, truly does mean a lot to me. There's that bright ass sun again. All right. Well, I'm Kenny, your captain. Thanks again, and hopefully I'll see you next time.